jumping 18 fences in all. And the chair is the third and the water is the fourth. Let's have a look now at the runners and riders. There are 29 of them. Number 28 comes out. One is Armour Turk, Sam Thomas. 2, Liv Fernie, Ruby Walsh. Number 3 is Vodka Blur, Davy Russell now taking over there from Timmy Murphy. 4 is Ground Ball, Tony McCoy. 5 on the net, David Casey. 6, Miranda Meal is Tom Scudamore. 7, Always, over from Ireland, Martin Ferris. 10, Irish Raptor is Wayne Hutchinson. Then Brooklyn Breeze, Graham Lee. Briary Fox, Mark Bradburn. Lord of Illusion, Dominic Ellsworth. Umbrella Man, Barry Fenton. Turthen is Liam Hurd. Just in Debt, Brian Harding. Iron Man, Tom O'Brien. Latimer's Place, Leighton Aspel. Kashtari, Paddy Brennan. Hakim is Seamus Durack. Patman de Chamil is Paul Maloney. Risk Excessor, Richard McGrath. Lost Time, wearing a red cap, Alan Crowe. Almost Broke, Lucy Horner. Espoir de Bocage is John Kington. Lord Rodney, Peter Buchanan. Flight Command is Tom Siddle. Dunbrody, Millar, Jamie Moore. Theatre Night is Wilson Rennick. Takeout 28. 29 is Shannon's Pride, David Cullinan. And 30 is Cassia Heights, Phil Kinsella.
Well, punters like this sort of race. 7-1 the field. Liv Phony, that one's the favourite, but Brooklyn Breeze is the one that they're coming for, and there's been support for that one from 8-1 into 7-1, and that might well be challenging favourite for shortly. It's currently 15-2. Briary Fox is 10-1 into 8-1. There's good money for that. Irish Raptor is 9-1 from 10s. Remember, if you're on each way, there's 4 places here. A quarter of the odds, 29 runners, and this could have a big impact on how many finishes we might get in tomorrow's John Smith National.
Right, here I am in the weighing room, right in the heart of where everything's going on. The tension's really building as we just get before the Topham. I've got an experienced jockey here with Mark Bradburn, you were third to Amberley House on Lord Attenborough in the Grand National, and John Kington having his first ride. What sort of advice can you give to John having his first ride over these fences?
Well, first and foremost is to enjoy it, really. It's very different. I mean, John will have he's done plenty of schooling before, but the one thing I can say is, the one thing you'll notice, we spend more time in the air, and you tend to land a bit steeper. So you've just got to go there with slightly longer reins, and you know, it's just about the same otherwise.
Are you taking notice of that?
Yeah.
So the horse jumps well. You've walked around the track. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it seems a nice track. Just go out there, look after myself, and enjoy it, really.
A great experience for you, and let's hope you one day go and win a national.
Yeah, one day, hopefully.
Good luck.
This is the 15 fence in the Grand National. You all know it, of course, as the chair. And one of the traps of the race here is, it's the narrowest part of the course, and there's this very big open ditch in front of the fence itself. And that means that horses are going to be at fairly full stretch as they fly over it. But then it's not all over, because as you'll see from the landing side, the ground is actually raised. It comes up to meet a horse that's going fast and fully stretched, and that can cause a problem.
Very successful in the JP McManus colours is Charlie Swan, and now Charlie a chain ground ball for JP here. Any chance?
Yeah, he has an each way chance if he gets a trip. His best form was all over 2 mile, really. He did win over 2.5 one day. Touch wood, he's been jumping great at home over these type of fences, so if he settles early, he definitely has an each way chance.
You said, well, for the public at home, settling early, does that mean AP will be, did you tell him drop him out, or did you leave it to him?
I sort of left, I said that if you drop him out too far, I don't think we have a chance of winning the race. So I said, somewhere mid-division, and hopefully he'll settle. So, you just have to, when you do drop a horse in, you have to avoid all the folders as well. So,
but the horse in terrific form?
Yeah, they're in good form, so you just hope a race like this is a bit of a lottery, so you're just hoping.
Good luck.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, you can visibly feel, or not visibly, you can actually feel the tension rising now. We're starting out for the big race over the big fences. But yesterday, with the ground riding like it is, well, we had lots and lots of finishes. We're hoping for the same. Certainly Ground Ball, who's by Bob's return, looks very well indeed. And Ground Ball always been threatening to win a nice race, a big race. And I'm sure despite having won 8 of them, there will be a big one. Hasn't won for a little while now. Just let's have a look at Ground Ball in action. And here he's really going for it, but just getting in and clouting the last, which was a bit of a hiccup there. But in the end, is just beaten by Andreas and Hasty Prince. Now that form in itself isn't too bad. Beaten 7 lengths in the end. Well, when you think of the 2.5 miles of that race, but have got to go further for today's race, well, that is just something to think about. Just trotting around now, keeping these horses warm. You can see, like an athlete, going down on the fibre sand to the start. You can see the colours of Trevor Hemmings, but Brian Gleeson has caught up with Scottish trainer Lenny Lungo.
Yes, indeed, Peter. Of course, he's steered by Graham Lee. He rides Joe's Edge tomorrow. He's favourite for the National, but he steers a Brooklyn Breeze for Len Lungo. Has he got a chance, Len?
I feel he's got a chance, yes. He's a very good horse. He's won lots of races. One round here as a bumper horse. He's jumped round Cheltenham. He's had 2 runs since he's come back after injury. Was second last time. I'm happy with his fitness. He jumps well. If he takes to these fences, I'm hoping that he runs a big race.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
And taking to these fences is something we don't know until they actually try. But he set off with a real big reputation. He was a good bumper horse, won 4 of them, and then went on to win over hurdles, and has been winnerless for a little while. I've been joined now by Norman and Claire. Claire, I was just saying, you can feel the tension rise now these big fence races are coming up.
And you know the funniest thing, I just stood out there in the paddock and I listened to Richard Guest, who, remember, won the Grand National on Red Marauder when only 2 of them jumped round clear. 2 more horses finished, but they were remounted. And he was saying to young David Cullinane, who rides Shannon's Pride for him, he was shouting at him, just turn left when you get to the canal turn, turn left. That's the only difference to any other course. And slip your reins. Make sure you slip your reins. Anyway, let's see who John Parrott's caught up with.
Yes, I'm here with connections of a horse that, you know, I fondly remember because I've seen him so many times run at Ludlow, and he won this race 3 years ago. It's Cassia Heights, and I'm with the owners, and Davies, but he's done you proud over the years.
Oh, he's been brilliant, absolutely fantastic. He owes us nothing. Just hope he comes through today. If he jumps round, we'll be thrilled to bits. We were surprised to get in, but 3 years ago, great memories, and we're hoping for a repeat.
Now, of course, he was pulled up last time, but there's a reason for that, isn't there?
Yeah, he tweaked his back, and the vet's seen him and given him the okay, and as far as the trainer's concerned, he's fit to run, so we'll go with it.
And you brought your friends with you, of course. You go to all the races with it?
A lot of them, John, yeah, a lot of them. Mike and I have been probably 75% of the times he's run, and he's been great fun to be with. Terrific.
Has he got a chance, Mike?
He's been a slim chance, great to follow, and I must say, before we stop, I've been a great critic of Aintree, but the conditions of this race course have been absolutely marvellous now, and I think it's terrific.
Thanks, Joyce. Well done and good luck.
Thanks a lot, John.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, just before we get off Cassia Heights, beside winning the Topham, you know, he was leading at Beeches here 2 years earlier when nearly unseating James Davis, who went up between his ears. He loves this course. Very important round here.
Paul Nicholls has got a very strong hand in this race. He's got a number of runners, including Armour Turk, who's top weight, and this horse, Le Volfoni, who's now 13-2, clear favourite.
Yeah, I was speaking to Ruby Walsh, a funny story this morning, and I said, has Le Volfoni got a chance? And he looked at me and he just said small. And he didn't mean small chance, he meant the horse is small, so he just had a worried look on his face. But he said he's a clever little jumper. He could have ridden Armour Turk, the top horse, as well, but he says he jumps well and he deserves to be favourite. He says he's nimble on his feet and he'll need to be.
Next to him there in those red colours with the white spots, that's Briery Fox. Mark Bradburn riding this one for Henry Daly. He had a winner yesterday, Henry Daly did, with Mighty Man, so the horse is in pretty good form. Lovely relaxed shot of that horse.
Yep, and he's been winning at places like Faken, Wincanton and Worcester, so this is rather a different cup of tea. But Briery Fox ran a good race behind Rambling Minister, and Killarney, of course, runs in the National last time out at Sandown.
Mark Bradburn, who could have ridden Blue Charm, do you remember, to second place, couldn't ride because he was injured. Let's just take a place on second in the big race, that is the Grand National. Let's just take a check on the betting for the Topham.
Thanks, Claire. And Le Volfoni is now 13-2 clear favourite, with Brooklyn Breeze at 15-2. Briery Fox is well supported at 8, and Irish Raptor at 9s. Ground Ball, I think that's significant money, 14 into 12s, really been well backed, as has Vodka Blur from 16s into 14s, and Lord of Illusion. It's a tremendous each-way betting heat. The remainder of those are not on Earl Capture, at least 20 to 1, upwards to 100 to 1. Le Volvoni, though, the 13 to 2 favourite in the 29-runner Topham.
Have a look at a couple more of them, and this one is Irish Raptor, Nigel Twiston-Davies, who's won the Grand National twice with Earth Summit and Binderee, and Wayne Hutchinson taking the ride on this one.
Real good jockey, Wayne. He's made big waves for a couple of seasons now, and when you start to get rides for outside trainers, then that is the thing when you're good forward. Now we
just have a look at Irish Raptor as he came out onto the course. And Norman and I were standing up there watching the runners coming out for the first race, and they are getting a little bit upset in there.
Yeah,
I think it's the crowd, isn't it?
I'm not sure, Claire. Well, the crowd is okay, but when you come underneath that tunnel, there's a glass. It's glass overhead, and there's a lot of people standing in there, and I think that's probably getting him worked up. Maybe they might have to do something about that, but thankfully he's at the start and he's okay.
He looks a lot more settled now he's down there at the start.
But I'd say that's his temperament more than anything. These are athletes ready to go, you know, and some of them are different to others.
We must just have a word on lost time, because Brian Gleeson, who is not a bad tipster, did say to us this morning that Christy Roach fancies this horse, and there's a few of us who've had a little bit each way, and he's 50 to 1.
Yeah, huge price, Claire. I'm sure if JP McManus was gambling on him, he probably wouldn't be 50 to 1, but he has got a chance. Ran a cracking race last time behind Dante's Reef in Clonmel, and Dante's Reef ran a great race in the Irish National last Monday, so he's certainly got a chance, but it's all down to jumping, Richard, and a lot of these guys are a little bit worried now.
Yeah, starters ready. Let's go to Jim.
Well, Sean McDonald is on his rostrum there, and he's about to call them in. They're lining up, set to go for the Topham. They're off and running, setting off now 18 fences over the big national course as they come now towards the first, and Dunbrody Millar is the first one to rise. The leaders got over it well. In fact, they're all over safely, and Always has stayed at the start. Always has refused to race and takes no part. One down at the first, it looks like Iron Man. As they go over the second now, the leader's over it well, and Hakim is up there in company with Dunbrody, Millar and Kashtari. Also Le Volvoni behind them from Lord Rodney, and further back is Just in Debt. Lord of Illusion is out wider, followed by Latimer's Place and Theatre Night now as they come to the chair. And Kashtari's gone, Lord Rodney's down. There's a big pile up here. Also down is Armour Turk, and also down is Lost Time. And also Briery Fox is down there, so we've lost 5 there at the chair as they go over the water now and race now out of the straight. And it's Hakim, the leader, on the inside of Dunbrody Millar. About 5 lengths to Lord of Illusion from Le Volvoni. Further back in the field then is Latimer's Place, and then on the inside Just in Debt. Out wider then is Shannon's Pride from Theatre Night, and Irish Raptor is back in the field. Esquire de Bocage is next, followed then by Vodka Blur as they race towards the Melling Road. In behind them at this stage is Brooklyn Breeze with Flight Command, and Cassia Heights, and Turthen is well back. And Patman de Chamil is last as we now join Ian Bartlett.
So they come down to fence number 5. Hakim with the red cap and Dunbrody Millar in the maroon and beige on the outside of him with the first 2 there. Latimer's Place was impeded further back in the field. Patman de Chamil is well behind the others. Theatre Night and Lord of Illusion just in behind the leaders, and behind those as well comes Shannon's Pride as they head now down towards the big open ditch. Hakim and Dunbrody Millar together from Theatre Night, Lord of Illusion, Latimer's Place, Le Volvoni, Ground Ball. Behind those is Shannon's Pride. Then comes Irish Raptor and Milan de Mille, and Esquire de Bocage is a fall-up. Patman de Chamil's just getting over it now as they race to their next. Hakim, with the company of a loose horse, is safely over that to Dunbrody Millar in second place. Shannon's Pride, Latimer's Place, Ground Ball, Theatre Night in behind those. And then comes Irish Raptor and Turthen as we join Tony O'Hare.
Coming to the fence before Beechers, and Hakim is the leader. Takes them over it. Irish Raptor is also prominent. And we've lost a couple of that one. Shannon's Pride was one faller, and another one to come down, looks like on the net. As they come to Beechers now, and it's Hakim, Irish Raptor, Dunbrody Millar just behind them. Flight Command not far behind these, and they're followed over it by Turthen. And we've lost one at Beechers there, almost broke. is down as they go on towards the Foynehaven fence, and the lead with Irish Raptor Hakeem Dunbrody Miller is in third place. They're followed over on the inside by an improving Theatre Knight. Behind Theatre Knight is Turton, and then Flight Command, and then Latimer's Place and Ground Ball. With these is Umbrella Man, and behind these on the inside Justin Dett, and then comes Milan de Mille. As they reach the canal turn, Irish Raptor Hakeem up the inside, then comes Theatre Knight. They're followed by Dunbrody Miller. Leaders all safely over it. Vodka Bleu is back at the tail of the field as they go to Valentine's now, and Theatre Knight on the inside of Irish Raptor and Hakeem, and we've lost one at that one. It was Turton as we go to Darren Owen.
5 fences remaining, and out in front it's Irish Raptor being pressed by Theatre Knight to the inside. Theatre Knight got him very close there. Dunbrody Miller just in behind the leaders. Hakeem still on the premises. Ground Ball making progress, followed by Milan de Mille as they level up for the final ditch, which is 4 from the finish, and it's Irish Raptor. Irish Raptor by a couple of lengths to Theatre Knight, chased by Dunbrody Miller. Milan de Mille, that one is making progress. Ground Ball, and then Justin Dett. Hakeem under pressure. Flight Command is next, mid-division along. The Volfoni, followed by Umbrella Man and Latimer's Place, and that was the third last, and the long last is Vodka Blur. So they're about to cross the Melling Road. It's Irish Raptor being followed by Theatre Knight, Dunbrody Miller, Justin Dett and Milan de Mille. Ground Ball is snapping at the leader's heels, and a break a few lengths to Hakeem, who's chased by the Volfoni and Flight Command. But as they go towards the second last, out in front, Irish Raptor. We rejoin Jim McGrath.
Well, Irish Raptor on the outside as the leader near now from Theatre Knight. Here comes Dunbrody Miller on the outside. Justin Dett behind them with a white cap, and then Milan de Mille running a big race, and now Tony McCoy calling on Ground Ball for an effort, and Le Volfoni behind them for Ruby Walsh. They come up now towards the second last. Dunbrody Miller on the near side is just the leader now as he comes towards it. A spectacular leap at it. Irish Raptor has hit it very hard, lucky to survive there. In second is Justin Dett from Theatre Knight. Ground Ball still running on, and Irish Raptor next from Milan de Mille. Coming towards the last now in the Topham. Dunbrody Miller jumped it in spectacular style. 3 or 4 lengths clear now, and bounding clear of Theatre Knight and Justin Dett. Ground Ball is battling on, followed then by Milan de Mille. Irish Raptor, Le Volfoni, a long gap then to Latimer's Place, but on at the elbow now, and it's Dunbrody Miller by 5 lengths, still trying to hold on, getting very weary. Theatre Knight trying to raise another effort now, but Dunbrody Miller out in front here is going to go on and win the Topham for Jamie Moore. A grand ride and a grand run from Dunbrody Miller. Wins the Topham by 6. In second, Theatre Knight. Third, Latimer's Place. Followed then further back by Ground Ball, and they were followed then by Milan de Mille, Le Volfoni, Irish Raptor. Then further back, Hakeem from Brooklyn Breeze, Justin Dett. Risk Assessor is next from Vodka Blur. They're followed by Flight Command. Cassia Heights is coming up to the line now. Lord of Illusion, and further back then is Umbrella Man. They're just crossing the line, and they are the only finishers. Early estimates 16 finishes, and the winner is number 26, Dunbrody Miller, trained by Peter Bowen, raced by Dundon Else Partnership and ridden by Jamie Moore. Second is number 27, Theatre Knight, ridden by Wilson Rennick, and third, number 16, Latimer's Place, Leighton Aspel. Fourth is number 4, Ground Ball, Tony McCoy. So Dunbrody Miller, Jamie Moore, a very, very good horseman, this fellow, and he has registered his 37th winner of the season, but none would give him a bigger thrill than that over those big Aintree fences. Great experience for horse and rider, and what a willing partner he had too in Dunbrody Miller, who missed the cut, of course, for the National. 25-1 the winner, Dunbrody Miller. 66-1 Theatre Knight, 25-1 Latimer's Place, and 12-1 Ground Ball. So good result for bookmakers, and the distances 6 lengths and 2.5. Jamie Moore coming back here from a wonderful racing family. His brother, of course, Ryan Moore, champion flat jockey at the moment. But Brian Gleeson's down with the winning rider now.
Jamie Moore, many congratulations.
Thank you very much, cheers.
Wonderful performance.
Yeah, it was, yeah. He quite a horse, you know. I just had to try and sit on him.
He loves it around here and jumped from fence to fence.
He did. I mean, he was spot on, you know. I wanted to make the run and one just took me on going after the canal turn, but I just thought I'd just let them kick on a bit and then just try and save a bit to get home, and it's paid dividends, really.
When did you know you had the race won?
Once I passed that line.
You didn't look back. And of course a chance ride as well, because Tom O'Brien rode the other horse for Peter Bowen.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's all luck. I mean, last year I rode him in the Topham because he was a spare ride because the jockey got injured in the race before, you know, and it's a funny old game, isn't it? You know, you get lucky once in a while.
It's a dream to win over the Grand National fences.
It is a dream. I don't think it'd ever happen to me anyway, and I don't doubt it'll probably ever happen again, but still, it's great.
Enjoy it. Well done to you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, we think 16 finished of the 29 that set out. There were an awful lot of fallers, particularly at the chair, which they came to the third as their third fence. Let's have another look at this finish. And Norman, Jamie Moore had such a good ride out of this horse, Dunbrody Millar. He's got into the race with not too much weight, and he's still jumping even towards the end of the race.
He did. He stood a mile away from the last fence, but I'm delighted for Peter Bowen, his trainer as well. He had a faller here, looked like winning yesterday evening, and he's just got touched off in some big races, including the Gold Cup, and he'll be delighted with this. But this horse jumped for fun. Theatre Night back in second, and Ground Ball, we were speaking to Charlie Swan. He looked as though he didn't quite get home. He's back in third at the moment, but Jamie Moore had his head down and he wasn't going to get past at this stage. Gave him a great ride from the last fence. He took the direct route all the way up and then went straight over to the rail, which helped him, and really kept going well to the line.
Do you know, Peter Bowen's not here today. Karen's representing. He's driving his two Grand National horses up, so he's at home doing the work.
Bally Cassidy and McKelvey will be his two representatives in the big race tomorrow, but he's got a winner on the board already over the big fences. Dunbrody Millar takes the Topham at 25 to 1 with Jamie Moore on board.
Wilson Rennick getting a good ride off there tonight. Didn't really see much of him early on, but Dunbrody Millar, the opposite, Claire, was up there right from the off.
He was up near enough in front from a very long way out, so he's been particularly brave to keep going.
Dunbrody Millar coming back now in front of the stands, and he was one of the horses who did miss the cut for the National. Now the winning trainer's other runner, Iron Man, of course, was a faller at the first fence. He was back in the field, and it just goes to show you what a lottery, a real lottery, this race is, or these races are over the national fences. Tom O'Brien, who would have had the choice, as Jamie said, preferring Iron Man, and here's Jamie coming back all smiles after having won it on Dunbrody Millar. Such are the fortunes of jump jockeys, and he's absolutely delighted with this victory. That pile up at the chair, it was quite a costly fence. Armour Turk went there, so too did Briary Fox, Kashtari, Lost Time and Lord Rodney. They were all in that melee, and it was a real pile-up. If one goes in front, of course, and the others are just behind in their path, almost unavoidable, and that's why it is such a demanding and challenging jump. The chair, most ferocious on the course. Here comes Jamie Moore back to the winner's enclosure after his 37th winner of the season. And he's done a good job, Dunbrody Millar. Well, if you backed him, you'd be very happy. He started at a juicy price. Let's check the full SPs now with Angus.
Thanks, Jim, and don't forget you get 4 places if you run each way. So if you back Tony McCoy on Ground Ball, you will get paid on the place. 12 to 1 the fourth horse. But Dunbrody Millar, 25 to 1 the winner. Theatre Night second, nice juicy price, 66 to 1 there. Latimer's placed third at 25 to 1, and Ground Ball fourth at 12 to 1. So Dunbrody Millar wins the John Smith Topham at 25 to 1.
Well, it was a race of an awful lot of incident, a lot to reflect upon as we take the race right from the start and from the off. Always decided he did not fancy it at all, planted at the start, Richard, and said, no, this is not for me.
Certainly did. Always young Martin Ferris having a first taste of nothing now.
Yeah, disappointing for him, but the horse was never going to go.
You can see him in the background there.
Here's they went a good gallop down to the first. We see Iron Man is the only one we lose here, right in the middle of the picture. Difficult to pick out until you see the loose horse and heading on towards the next.
Iron Man was ridden by Tom O'Brien. Peter Scudamore was with him now.
Tom, you unfortunately didn't get very far there. What did Iron Man do?
No, that didn't lift the leg, just unsighted and unfortunately come down.
It must be much harder as well for you then. You've gone and watched your stable companion go and win.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
That's right. It's the ups and downs of the game. You win the National tomorrow, McKelvey. Good luck.
Thanks.
It's always difficult, isn't it, when the poor jockey who's had the fall has got to give an interview. Hakim's up front here, and the eventual winner, Dunbrody Millar, right alongside him, getting right into his rhythm, good and early. We get over the second fence here, but coming down to the chair, and this is where we are going to lose. Armour Turk, Castari, Lost Time, Briary Fox, and Lord Rodney.
And they're going a goodish gallop, but just have a look at the two leaders jumping in for fun.
That's Castari the Grey. He's the first to go. Dreadful fall.
And Lord Rodney went right over the top of him.
Yeah, we'll just get a slightly longer look at that as well. And Armour Turk, who's down the inside in the white cap, green and yellow colours, he's going to go. But keep an eye on the grey horse. He just stands up too far, can't get over the back end of the fence, comes down, and that's what starts the pile-up.
Yep, and several of them, of course, brought down as a result of that. Armour Turk had nowhere to go. Third look at it.
Pick out Armour Turk this time on the right, just coming to the fence now. White cap, and there goes Castari. Armour Turk gets brought down as well.
It's just the worst feeling, Claire, to be wiped out so early on.
Well, and also to be over the fence and know that you've got nothing to land on, Norman.
And absolutely, you might have the best jumper in the race, and if something like that happens, there's nothing you can do about it. And running onto the water.
I ought to just mention Lord Rodney is down on the ground. The screens are up around him and the vet's attending to him, and we just hope that he's going to be all right. But that was a nasty incident at the chair.
Not many water jumps in the country now, Claire, and of course there are none in Ireland, but here in front of the grandstand it does provide a spectacle. In the National itself, it signals you survive one circuit. Let's play jockeys for the second.
And now they're heading off to what it will be the first fence in the Grand National, and up front Hakim and Dunbrody Millar finished second and fourth in the race last year. Dunbrody Millar goes on to win, really enjoying it. And in fact, slightly different angle here as they come away from the stands.
And that is a lovely feeling in the National itself when you go round that bend and then look down the long straight with those 6 fences in front of you.
Yeah, Dunbrody Millar, Richard, bang up there all the way. He had a super ride, Jamie Moore, off this horse. And also Hakim, he drifted out of it late on, but Seamus Durack, he gave the horse a beautiful ride, and the horse repaid him because he jumped from fence to fence, crossing the Melling Road. They're just getting away 5 or 6 lengths clear of the rest. Theatre Night, we can see him back in the field. And also right down the inside there is Vodka Bluff.
And Lord of Illusion, I think, is up there as well. And they make their way down to this, which is the 5th in the Topham, first fence in the Grand National. No fallers here.
Next to the loose horse, the yellow cap, that's Latimer's place, Leighton Aspel for Nick Gifford. Big jump there. But just keep your eye on Briary Fox. He's the loose horse who got up and carries on and jumps for fun.
See them landing, really travelling away from these fences with the quicker ground. They're going a pretty good clip.
And look how far out they're landing, Claire. A long way. Good shot of loose horses going over. They jumping was they're bred for, they do. Now here, would they be talking to each other now?
Yeah, probably saying we should slow down, we're going a bit quick. Seamus Durack on this side and Jamie Moore on the winner, Dunbrody Millar on the far side. But watch that horse in front, just prick his ears, cute as you like. And I think it's at the next fence he got himself out of jail because there was a loose horse went across him. A lot of horses bang down the inside is Lord of Illusion. He ran a fair race for a while. Latimer's place, the white noseman, keep an eye on him. He's down the middle with Leighton Aspel. He ends up finishing third. He's ran a cracking race, but
and if we look out for the
joy to watch.
Maroon colours, white cat with a black star. We're going to lose Espoir du Bocage here. Oh my word! Yeah, just landed in the middle of the fence and sent John Kington flying through, trained by Michael and Peter Scudamore. And I think we'll see the jockey coming over and not the horse here.
Slightly worrying for leaders is when you've got a loose horse, but oh look there. end of story. But Norman, just reflecting on them as they go down there, with the loose horse up in front, now you're thinking, remember McCoy up there on Clown Royal? Absolutely. Where is this horse going to go?
He would be very worried whether he's going to refuse in front of you, but Seamus Durack just pulled off the rail, being sensible, wondering which direction he'll go. But there's the loose horse jumped, and he jumped really well behind him. He was as straight as a die.
Patman de Charmel is pulled up here in the Dunbrody colours. In fact, we've got a couple of falls there, haven't we?
Big run, though, from Irish Raptor at this stage.
I think that was Shannon's Pride and off the net going there. I think
that was Shannon Pride, the grey horse who fell at that fence. This is coming down to Beechers.
This is coming down to Beechbrook, the 10th fence, not as the graphic says there, the 9th fence, and we lose Almost Broke here. You can see the drop on the landing side of Beechers Brook there, and a few of the jockeys leaning back and just making sure they stay in touch with their horses.
But it doesn't look so much as a drop now in this faster ground where they jump way out over the drop. They almost negate it, don't they?
And you see the winner there, Dunbrody. Millar is picked out for you, always up there in Theatre Night, who eventually finishes second for Wilson Rennick.
Both going where the brave men go. And of course the jocks know it's Beechers because there's that hedge on the right-hand side, or left as they go down to.
Red colours, blue, just there on the left, that's Almost Broke, and Lucy Horner going over the head there.
Yes, former SIS girl. She'll have had some excitement in her life, won't she? But what a lovely shot of the lead there. Briary Fox, no jockey, but Hakim up front, of course, having a whale of a time there.
Hakim really jumping well. Let's talk to his jockey, Seamus Durack, who's with Skew now.
Here's Claire. I've got Hakim's jockey here, Seamus Durack. What a ride he must have given you.
Yeah, he gave me a great ride. I was lucky kind of coming up to the race that I had the choice between Dunbrody Millar, if he didn't get into the national, and him.
Oh dear.
And obviously, like, there are two horses with great course form around here, which counts for an awful lot. And on the day I take the wrong one, but you know, I'm delighted for the owners of Dunbrody Millar and for Peter Vaughan and everyone else, because
nevertheless, Hakim's giving you a magnificent ride.
Oh, brilliant, super ride. Like, the more positive on him you are, the better he is, you know. If you can keep squeezing him in, he just repays you with every
brilliant
jump.
Well done, and bad luck.
Thank you. All right.
And Hakim, a real example of a horse who just thrives here. He loves it. Coming down to the smallest fence on the course, this is the Foynaven fence. We don't lose any horses here, but the field has been seriously depleted.
At halfway stage there, in the Gold Cup winning colours of Clive Smith, we've got Turthan, and this one goes at Valentine's, which is in 2 fences' time. First of all, they're being forced out by the rail before going across.
And this is the fence that Richard Guest was talking to his jockey David Cullinane about, saying, just turn left, turn left. And they all managed to do that.
Yeah, and Irish Raptor has taken it up here on the outside, and Wayne Hutchinson. He got a good spin for a long way. You see him there in the green colours. Hakim is still there, and Theatre Night creeping into it on this side. He's jumped super. Ground ball just behind him in the white cap.
Liam Hurd there. I mean, the horse hit the fence on the way up, and it was ejection.
It was. The ejector button was pressed.
But interesting here, you see Dunbrody Millar, the winner, he's just dropped a couple of links behind, and he's just struggling to go to pace a little, and amazing he should get back into it so well after that. But you can see Theatre Night, Irish Raptor Theatre Night was real clever there. He put down and still got high enough. Ground ball just getting a little bit low. But there you can see Jamie Moore just niggling and slapping away, and it's remarkable. I'm sure he'd have been a big price in running at this point.
Ground ball starting to come into the action now. He'd been slowly ridden there, you know, quietly ridden.
Charlie Swan said before the race he'd worry about the trip, but AP gave him a lovely ride. Couple of the ones out the back. Well, the favourite Laval Phony, we'll see him coming over. He might have got hampered early on. That's him popping it there. Ruby Walsh in the yellow and blue colours. He's actually came home really well with a lot of weight on his back, but I'd say he got hampered probably at the chair early.
And Vodka Blur bringing up the rear there, just out of contention completely now. But coming down to the 16th fence just before the final Melling Road crossing when they know they're on their way home, and still up front, Wayne Hutchinson on Irish Raptor, just flicking through the top of that, but not making a serious mistake. Theatre Royal on the right, and the winner Dunbrody Millar on the left.
A little Hakim still in 4th place. He's been around here no end of times. But as they cross this position here, the Anchor Bridge Road, you really start to know if you've got half a chance or no chance, Norman.
Absolutely. I thought Milan de Mille in the orange colours and the white cap and the black star, I thought for David Pipe, he was creeping into it at that point. But you see Dunbrody Millar, you wouldn't believe at this stage that he'd go on and win and stay so well. Irish Raptor still in front, just tightened up. Topham Knight on the inside, but here Dunbrody Millar gets into top gear, and when we get to the second last, I think he stands off and jumps it really well.
And AP McCoy has given his right ground ball every chance. He snuck into the race at the back of these. Had he picked up, he would have finished really well. He takes 4th place in the end. But Irish Raptor, keep your eye on him on the inside with Wayne Hutchinson, and I'm afraid that nod on the ground was the end of his chances. Wayne did well to sit on, Stu.
That was a great national trial for a novice, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's run a very good race. Just probably done too much on him, but I'm sure he'll be back here next year for the national.
And I have the winning jockey with me here. How was it going to the last year? How were you feeling, Jamie?
Yeah, I couldn't believe I was still there, really, you know. And I thought I was going to meet it short, and he's come up out my hands, and it takes some doing, because I've been up there in the van, but I managed to get a breather into him, and I mean, to still have enough energy to do that and then run onto the line, he's very gutsy, you know.
He looked beat 3 out them.
He did, yeah, but I always knew he'd stay, and he was always just giving me enough. He was starting to wander around. He leans both ways, and he can get a bit awkward, you know, but to be fair, once you get him straightened up, he does rally again, you know.
Brilliant, well done anyway.
Yeah, well, he kept him pretty straight. Justin Dett's running a big race as well with those white cheek pieces.
And also the favourite we'd seen very little of, Ruby on Lavelle Phoney. He's back in just out of the picture at the moment. We did see him, and you'll see the yellow colours and checkered sleeves just jumping there, and he finishes 6th in the end.
And this is where the tiredness kicks in. The horses are feeling it, the jockeys are feeling it, although they're fit enough. But Dunbrody Millar, he's just got to keep going to the line, and we've seen plenty of horses stop on this run in.
Yeah, and he stayed really, really well. We were saying early on in the race, well, 4 from home, he was off the bridle. Topham Knight stayed galloping well for 2nd, and Ground Ball, question mark about the trip, but he did stay well. Justin Dett is just behind him in the white cap. Milan Emile is back in the orange, who ran a cracking race, but it's all about Jamie Moore. He gave this horse a fantastic ride, and he jumped super for him all the way, and who's to know, he could be back here next year.
He's by Lord America, a horse that goes on top of the ground, gets lots of good winners, and certainly the ground being in his